Joe Biden has indicated that he will not run in the 2024 presidential election. And I know there's a lot of political pundits out there that are going to be talking about Joe Biden and how this is a good thing or a bad thing from a politics lens. I'm here to talk about policy, and I'm going to show you how in three key areas, Donald Trump and Joe Biden are very similar, very almost identical. And yet, a lot of people aren't talking about that. In fact, I don't think anyone is talking about how similar both presidents are when it comes to key issues. Hi, everyone. My name is Christopher. I run the Open Minds podcast, where I'm exploring the world's biggest issues through genuine curiosity, where I cover all types of topics. Check it out on Spotify, anywhere you stream music. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, the first area that both presidents are almost identical is when it comes to border and immigration. Title 42 is a public health and welfare statute which gives the government the ability to prevent the introduction and spread of infectious diseases. And so during the COVID-19 pandemic, the Trump administration used Title 42 to allow U.S. border officials to expel migrants to control the spread of COVID-19. And this actually led to hundreds of thousands of migrants being expelled without the opportunity to seek asylum. Under Title 42 during the Trump administration, over 1 million expulsions happened by the end of Trump's term, with the policy serving as a cornerstone of his administration's efforts to restrict immigration during the pandemic. And, for some of Trump's detractors, for them to say that this president doesn't actually think about immigrants and he's very racist, xenophobic, it lends itself to that type of rhetoric. But Biden wasn't that different. In fact, Joe Biden initially campaigned to take a more humane approach to immigration, but Title 42 was still enforced under Joe Biden. Despite efforts to revoke the policy, it remained in place due to legal challenges and ongoing public health concerns. Under Biden, Title 42 has been used to manage the significant surge in migration at the southern border, with the Department of Homeland Security continuing to expel migrants rapidly. It faced criticism from both sides for maintaining this policy, and by the end of 2022, the administration had conducted a similar number of expulsions than the Trump administration, emphasizing the policy's role in the current border strategy. Next up is trade, and everyone remembers the 2016 campaign where Donald Trump was very much focused on making America great again. And one thing that he ushered in was strong nationalism. He thought that the United States was being sold out to various foreign entities because those countries were devaluing their currency, engaging in negotiations where they were putting their countries first and America's second. And this president under Trump would put America first. And what Trump ushered in were a series of unilateral actions emphasizing tariffs and trade barriers to reduce the trade deficit, bring manufacturing jobs back to the United States, and impose significant tariffs on a wide range of goods, specifically from China. As well, you'll remember that Donald Trump renegotiated trade agreements, including here in Canada, the North American Free Trade Agreement, to the USMCA, which put more straight focus on American labor interests, automotive manufacturing, and digital trade issues as well. In fact, Hillary Clinton was very critical of Donald Trump's focus on nationalism, thinking that his policies would actually set the country back for generations. Well, fast forward to 2020, when Joe Biden gets elected, a lot of those same nationalist policies are continued under the Biden administration. Biden's trade policy included measures to protect U.S. industries from unfair competition, particularly from China. He maintained tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, introduced additional tariffs on critical sectors like semiconductors and electric vehicles, particularly from China, and these were part of a broader strategy to support domestic manufacturing and ensure that American workers are not disadvantaged by lower cost, less environmentally friendly foreign products. As well, by focusing on environmental standards, Joe Biden was able to kind of get around the whole make America great again by saying those other countries don't have the same environmental regulations, they don't pay their workers as high a livable wage. And that was the angle that the Democrats took under the Joe Biden administration. Also, something to note, and this is not trying to be political at all, but Donald Trump ushered in strong nationalism in 2016, taking a lot of heat for it as well. But through his focus on strong nationalism, it actually changed the political landscape in what people were focusing on altogether. You see, it was less likely that all all voters would be okay with any politician coming to power saying they're not in favor of jobs, they're not in favor of industries returning home, and they're not in favor of imposing tariffs on foreign goods. That was generally just not what people were willing to accept. So by Donald Trump coming in and ushering in nationalism, it actually changed what people were focused on. It forced the Democrats as well to take a much more nationalist approach than they otherwise would have given the same situation. And the final area is military. Now, both Trump and Biden actually surprisingly agreed with reducing the United States' presence in the Middle East. In fact, Donald Trump, during his presidency, wanted to withdraw from Afghanistan. And as we know, although it was done in a terrible way by most people's standards, Joe Biden actually withdrew troops from Afghanistan as well. And the whole returning troops home seemed to be a shared opinion by both Democrats and Republicans, although both Trump and Biden attacked the problem in the exact, almost identical way when it came to Afghanistan. Except the withdrawal. The withdrawal was pretty bad. And you might be thinking that military spending was very different under Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. It really wasn't. The Trump administration increased military spending from $605 billion to $738 billion by 2020. Trump also focused on reducing the U.S. military footprint in prolonged conflicts, negotiating a deal with the Taliban in 2020, which set the stage for a complete withdrawal of U.S. troops. Joe Biden, taking that same $738 billion budget in 2020, increased defense budget spending as well. In 2022, the budget went up to $768 billion and increasing to $782 billion in 2023, and it is projected to reach $824 billion by 2024. Biden has also continued the policy of reducing the U.S. military presence in prolonged conflicts, most notably completing the withdrawal from Afghanistan as mentioned earlier. But unlike Trump, Biden has a slight difference of opinion and focuses more on diplomacy and military efforts in supporting current conflicts like the one in Ukraine, reflecting a commitment to collective security through NATO and other alliances. And that's perhaps where Biden and Trump differ when it comes to military engagement. So as you can see, on three major policy areas, Trump and Biden are very similar, if not identical. And also, this is something you're probably not going to hear too much on from the mainstream news outlets. And the reason why is because it just doesn't serve their purpose to let you know that both candidates are kind of singing from the same songbook. So regardless of who steps in for Joe Biden, whether it's Kamala Harris or someone else in the DNC, they're going to have to run on 4 years of very similar policies from Trump. So the question Americans really should be asking themselves is, what difference are they getting from the Democrats to the Republicans come 2024? And to be honest, that's getting more and more murkier as the days go on. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are these really important issues, or is it something that shouldn't be even discussed? Are we more inclined to vote for someone based on personality than we are based on policy? And do we care more about personality than we do about policy? And if so, what does that say about our politics?